Okay. Hi, Abby. My name's Gates. I'm a student nurse, and I'm going to be asking you a few questions about your family today. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay. So, can you start off with telling me who's in your family?
Okay, so my family is my dad, David, my mom, Amy, and then I have two brothers. Jack is 17 and Joe is 15.
All right. And do you live with any of your extended family members, like your grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles?
Nope.
Anything like that? Okay.
Just my family.
Does anyone who is not biologically related to you live with you?
No.
Okay. Has anyone in your household moved out?
Besides when I moved out to college, no one has moved out.
Okay. When you moved out to college, do you know if anything has changed at home as a result of you moving out?
My mom says that it's really quiet around the house because she feels like she doesn't have anybody to talk to now that there's only boys in the house. But other than that, I think everything's pretty much the same.
Okay. Do you consider anyone family who does not live with you?
My extended family on my mom's side, my grandma, and my aunts and uncles and my cousins.
Okay. Describe your parents' relationship.
I would say my parents have a really strong relationship. They're a really good role model of what I would want a future relationship to be like.
And how has that had effect on your family as a whole?
I think it's brought us closer as a whole because if my parents have a strong relationship, then they want their kids to have a strong relationship. So they've kind of been like a mirror image for us, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. How many children are there in the house?
So, well, 3 when I'm at home.
Okay. And then, so you are the oldest?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said your brother Jack was Joe was the youngest.
Joe's the youngest, yep.
Okay, so there's no significant age gaps. They're all pretty close, relatively close in age. So your siblings wouldn't be married then, since you are the oldest. Do any of them have a significant other?
Not that we know of.
Okay, still in that school age.
Yes.
Do you currently have a significant other?
Yes.
Okay. And if so, do you feel safe in your current relationship?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to hear. What are some healthy traits in your current relationship?
We communicate really well, and we see things of like great value the same, I guess. So we have a lot of the same opinions on like the big stuff, I guess you would say.
Same values and morals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does your family delegate certain tasks or responsibilities in your family based on the different ages?
I don't think so. I guess my youngest brother sometimes gets stuck with like, Joe, you take out the trash because no one else wants to. But
Okay.
other than that, not really.
Okay. So have you ever had to take on more of like a kind of a caretaker role since you are the eldest, or has it still kind of been more of your parents?
Yeah, sometimes like when my parents would go on vacations and stuff, I would like stay at home with my brothers, and no one else would be with us. So then I was, but usually my mom is the caretaker.
Okay. Have there been any miscarriages in the family?
Nope.
And no one in your family is adopted?
Well, my dad was adopted, but none of the kids were.
So since your father is adopted, do you know much about his medical history, or is it kind of more of a mystery?
No, it's pretty much mystery. He doesn't even know like who his biological parents are.
Is there a primary provider in the house?
My dad.
Okay. And does anyone stay home with the kids?
My mom. She used to work, but now she pretty much stays at home. She does a lot of volunteer work.
Okay. What kind of volunteer work does she do?
She volunteers at the Alzheimer's unit at the hospital, and then she volunteers with like the school nurse a lot too, because she's a nurse.
Oh, interesting. It's a good role model for you.
Yeah.
Who takes care of the children when they're ill? Is it your mom, your dad, or someone else?
Definitely my mom.
Okay. Describe your father and his role in the family.
Probably his first role is the provider for the family. He
Mhm.
works like 30 minutes outside of our town, so he drives to and from work every day. But he also does like stuff around the house too. I wouldn't say that my mom does everything around the house.
Okay. And so describe your mother and her role in the family then.
My mom usually is at home, so she does like all of the cooking and cleaning and like taking kids to and from places.
Okay. Describe yourself and your role in the family.
Being the oldest, I think that it's like just expected of me to watch out for my brothers and like to make more of an effort with my brothers than they have to make with me.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, just to be like a good role model for my brothers would probably be my role.
Would you say that the women in your family have different responsibilities than the men?
Not necessarily. I guess there's just like certain things that my mom and I do. Like we usually are the ones like cooking supper and like doing the dishes and stuff, and my brothers are like, doing the yard work and like letting the dog out and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so would you say that the responsibilities are pretty divided evenly amongst you guys? And if you were to divide your family into two different teams, who would be on each team and why?
Probably my mom and I, and then my brothers and my dad. Just because my mom and I are really, really close, and I think that like freaks my brothers out. So the boys it'd probably be boys versus girls.
Okay. Have these sort of gender roles added any type of stress to your family in any way?
I don't think so.
Okay. What sort of rules does your family have?
Rules?
Yes.
I guess just like a generic rule of like respecting each other and like holding responsibility for like going to school and like getting good grades and having a job in high school. Like not talking back to our parents, being respectful and responsible about like curfews. I think that's about it.
Okay, so would you say that the rules pretty much apply to your family as a whole then?
Yeah.
Okay, so the rules don't really change for different members. You all kind of are held to the same standard?
Yeah.
Are there any sort of boundaries that exist in your family?
I guess one with my dad being adopted, it's just like the unspoken rule, like you don't ask my dad about his biological parents because it's like a really touchy subject. So I guess that would be an example of one. I don't know if I have any other like specific examples.
So who makes the decisions in your family?
I would say it's like my mom and my dad together.
Okay, so you say your family, how would they go about making an important decision?
Yeah, probably my mom and dad would like talk about it first, and then if it were like we were moving or something, they would talk about it, and then they'd come to like the kids and talk about it.
Okay. So next we're going to talk a little bit more about the external structure of the family. Who are your mom's parents?
Sid and Judy Krebs.
And are they alive?
My grandma is, but my grandpa passed away.
And how old is your grandma?
I think she's probably like early 70s.
Okay. And how did your grandpa pass away?
He had lung cancer that spread to his brain and his spinal cord.
Sorry to hear that. How old was he when he passed away?
He passed away in like 2007, I think, so probably like early 60s, 60 or 65. I don't remember for sure.
And where do your mom's parents, I guess, where does your grandma live?
She lives in Storm Lake, so it's like an hour from Carroll.
So Storm Lake?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a close relationship with your grandma?
Yeah, I do. Probably out of like all my cousins, I'm probably the closest to my grandma.
Okay. It's recorded. Screen blacked out. Does your mom have any siblings?
Yeah, she has an older sister, Hallie, and a younger brother, Mitch.
And do they have children?
Yep, Hallie has 2 kids, Sydney and Sawyer.
And how would you describe your relationship with Hallie and her kids?
Hallie's family lives in South Dakota, so we don't see them very much, but Sydney just started going to school here, so I see Sydney a lot now, so we've gotten a lot closer.
Who are your dad's parents?
My dad's parents are Jean and Linda. His adopted parents are.
And are they both alive?
Yes.
Okay. How old are they?
Probably early 70s.
Okay. They're overall in good health?
Yeah, my grandpa just he's supposed to have shoulder surgery, but then they got him opened up on the table and realized he had heart problems, so he has some heart issues.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, they're pretty healthy.
Where do your dad's parents live?
They live in a town called Fruitland. It's in southern Iowa.
Do you have a close relationship with them?
Not really.
Okay. What would you say the biggest boundary? What would you say the biggest boundary between having a close relationship with them would be?
Partially probably because they live far away from us, but then just because my dad was adopted, there's a lot of weird vibes between the kids and the parents and the grandparents.
Okay, yeah, that's understandable. Does your dad have any siblings?
Yeah, he has an older brother, Steve, and a younger sister, Amy.
And are his siblings biologically related to him, or
no? Steve was biological to my grandma and grandpa, but my dad and Amy were both adopted, but from different people.
Okay. And do you know if Steve or Amy have any children?
Yep, Steve has 3 kids and Amy has 4 kids.
And how would you describe your relationship with Steve, Amy, and their children?
I have an okay relationship with one of Steve's kids, but then Amy's kids we don't really ever interact with, so I guess Stephanie and Shayla of Steve's kids I would be semi-close with, but much closer to my mom's side of the family.
Okay. Which one of your relatives would you say that you're the closest with?
In my extended family?
Yes.
Probably either my grandma or Hallie.
Okay. And do you talk to them often?
Yeah, I talk to my grandma probably more often than Hallie.
Okay. How often would you say you talk to your grandma?
We text kind of a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll call on the phone, but we probably touch base once every week or 2 weeks.
Okay. So when you do want to talk to your relatives, do you usually have to reach out to them, or do they usually call you first, or
usually it's pretty reciprocated, I guess.
Okay.
Half and half.
Goes back and forth.
Yeah.
And so do you have any relatives that you never see?
Yeah, my dad's side of the family. Basically, we never see them.
What does your dad do for a living?
He works for a company called CPS Wholesale, so he works in ag, and he's a wholesale division manager.
How long has he done that?
He's worked at CPS since I was in kindergarten, so like 15 years, 15 or 16 years.
Does he enjoy his job?
For the most part, I think sometimes it's kind of stressful because he's in a management position,
Mhm.
but for the most part, I think he enjoys it.
Does he deal with stress, that stress pretty well in a pretty healthy way?
Yeah, he has a shop in our backyard that he
Okay.
like builds things in, so
Okay.
when he's out there, he's usually stressed. It's a good stress reliever.
Yeah. So has his job had any positive or negative effects on his health besides just the overall stress?
Probably just the stress, and he kind of sometimes has high blood pressure, so the stress probably doesn't help with high blood pressure.
Okay. How has his job affected his relationship with your family?
I think it's pretty positive, except for he has to travel a lot. So when he's gone a lot, especially when we were little, it was like hard for him to be away and hard for us to have our dad away a lot.
What does your mother do for a living?
She's a nurse and she keeps her license up, but she doesn't practice anymore.
Okay.
So she used to teach a class at a community college, and she fills in for the school nurse. But other than that, she stays at home now.
Okay. How long has she been a nurse for?
Since she graduated college, so like 25 years.
It sounds like she enjoys it if she's keeping up her licensure.
Yeah, she loves it.
Always good.
Yeah, encouraging.
Has her job had any positive or negative effects on her health?
Probably positive, like for our family's health. She's like really aware of warning signs of stuff, and so that benefits her health, and then that benefits our health.
How has her job affected her relationship with your family?
I think positive, just because with nursing, like there's so many different things you can do with it. She didn't have to be like a full-time nurse, so she's able to stay at home with us while like, keeping her license up.
So now I'm going to ask you a little bit more about the context of your family. Can you describe the neighborhood you grew up in?
Yeah, there was a lot of kids. Carroll's like a town of 10,000 people, so it's just like a nice sized town. It's a nice neighborhood, not really like scary. Or kids could be playing outside and parents didn't have to be outside with them.
Does your family still live there now?
No, we moved when I was going to be a senior in high school.
Okay. It was 2012?
Yeah.
And where did you guys move to?
We live in the same town, but we just like moved to the outside of town. We built a new house.
And how is the neighborhood you grew up in different from the neighborhood that you currently live in now?
The neighborhood I grew up in was like established before we moved there, and the neighborhood that I'm in now is new, so there's like lots of new construction and things like that going on in the neighborhood now.
What are some things that are similar to the neighborhood you used to live in?
There's still a lot of kids, and it's still a really nice, safe neighborhood.
Okay. So you said you feel safe in your new neighborhood. Describe the house you grew up in.
It was like a split level, so you walked in and you either went, there's like a main floor or an upstairs or downstairs. And all the kids had their own rooms, we had a nice backyard that the kids could play in.
Do you have any pets?
Yeah, we had 2 chocolate labs, and then we adopted a stray cat.
What sort of memories do you associate with the house you grew up in?
I have really positive memories, I guess. Memories of like playing outside with all the neighbor kids. Like that was probably my favorite thing about that neighborhood.
And you said you grew up in Carroll,
Mm-hmm.
and that's in Iowa.
Yep.
How is that place different from where you live now?
Carroll is like a fifth the size of Mankato, so
Mhm.
Mankato's big compared to home. My hometown has a community college, but it doesn't have
Mhm.
like a campus where people can live on,
Mhm.
so that's different than a big campus in Mankato. There's a lot more to do in Mankato than there is in Carroll.
In what ways is it similar?
I would say I feel safe in Carroll. I feel safe in Mankato. Um, I feel like there's safe neighborhoods in Mankato that like resemble my neighborhood at home, so that's probably pretty similar.
What is the educational status of your family? Has anyone graduated college, and who in your family has gone to college?
My mom and my dad both went to college and got 4-year degrees, and then went to college.
Okay. And what was your dad's degree in?
I think it was like egg business.
Okay. Do you think your younger brothers will go to college?
Yeah, Jack's looking at colleges to go for next year because he's a senior, and then I would think that Joe probably will.
Awesome. How would you describe the economic status of your family?
We're able, like with my dad's job, we're able to live comfortably enough that my mom doesn't have to go to work, so that's really nice.
Yeah. So what economic class would you say your family falls under then?
Probably like middle upper, I guess.
And how would you describe your ethnicity?
White and American.
How long has your family been in the country? Are you related to any recent immigrants from any other country? Okay. Is your family religious?
Yes.
And if so, what religion does your family practice?
Growing up, I was Lutheran, but we go to a covenant church now.
Are there any differences in religious beliefs amongst family members?
Not really. I would say we're all pretty similar. My dad's probably the least religious, but he goes with us every Sunday.
Okay. How involved is your family in the church?
We're pretty involved. Jack, my brother, is the worship leader, the worship band leader at church, and my mom is like one of the big volunteers at church.
Okay. What does health mean to you and your family?
Health to us probably means like the lack of illness or disease, but then also being like healthy in the sense that your mind is healthy and your spirit is healthy.
Are there any health practices that are especially important to your family?
Not really, I guess.
Are there any barriers your family may have to accessing good health care?
No, I don't think so.
Can you identify any risk factors that your family may have that could prevent good health in the long run?
My mom's dad died of cancer, and then my great grandma also died of cancer. My mom had melanoma, and I have a cousin who has cancer in that side of the family, so there's just like a really long history of cancer.
How has your economic status affected you and your family's health?
It's enabled us to be able to get like adequate health care when we need it, and good access to resources that we need.
What gives you purpose in life?
I'd say my family, especially my mom and my like really close friends and goals of what I'm gonna do in the future.
Does your family incorporate any spiritual practices into everyday life?
I guess we sometimes pray before meals.
Okay. When do you feel the most spiritual?
Probably after I go to my home church in Carroll.
Okay.
Gone Sunday mornings with my family.
Do you have enough privacy at home?
Yeah.
Do you have a reliable form of transportation?
Yes.
Do you have a safe form of transportation?
Yes.
Have you always lived a reasonable distance from a school?
Yeah.
And have you ever had any problems with being able to attend school?
No.
Have you always felt safe at home?
Yes.
And has there ever been anything to make you not feel safe at home?
No.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you about your family structure.
Awesome.
I need to take this
Okay.
in. Oops. I hope it's still going.